TNT Race Buddy on NASCAR.com, back and better than ever for TNT this summer series. New this year, 4 live in-car cameras and driver audio. There's no better way to enjoy a race than with TNT Race Buddy on NASCAR.com. Log on while you're watching us here on TNT. 135 laps complete. Kurt Busch leading the way. Jeff Gordon behind him in second. Denny Hamlin third. And then you got Juan Pablo Montoya seen here in fourth. And then there's Jimmy Johnson, 6.8 seconds behind. Seems like the 48's been in fifth all day long. Not bad. And he is our Pizza Hut fan favorite driver.
He's making some ground right now.
Ooh,
well,
he
was
some ground.
that leaving
ugly.
the rubber on the wall probably scrubbed a little speed off, but he's been making some ground up on the 42.
Johnson not the only one. Kyle Busch behind him also getting a piece of the safer barrier off turn one.
You know, but again, the sun's come out a little bit. These guys have adjusted one way the first part of the race. Now they got to adjust another way. You got a little bit with the tire there.
Yeah, if you're going to hit it, that's the way to hit it.
That's the way to hit it. Just and they've adjusted themselves into a place where they need these cautions, or they need a caution to adjust back a little bit. It almost looks like.
Casey Kane, a driver we've talked about quite a bit today in the top 10. He's dropped back to 14th. And we were talking earlier, Larry, about the issues with Tony Stewart in the transmission. What do you have for us down at the Toyota Torque Car?
Well, when you think about it, 136 laps into this race, we know of 3 transmission failures. Jamie McMurray, Marcus Ambrose, and now Tony Stewart. And we talked to Kurt Busch yesterday, and he kind of shed some light on this. When you're in third gear, you're not in the one-to-one, and it generates a lot of heat. Some teams elected to go with a transmission cooler, some did not. In fact, Kurt Busch told us he would base how much he would shift and run third gear as to what his transmission temperature showed him.
I'll tell you something that I noticed, Larry, and I'm not sure if it's got a whole lot to do with some of these guys, but guys like Tony Stewart and Montoya and some of these other guys are downshifting as they're going down into turn one. And then you got guys like Denny Hamlin and some of those guys. They don't downshift until the RPMs are at the very bottom. They don't downshift until they're ready to pick up the gas after they go through turn one, which is going to be easier on the gearbox.
Well, and Wally, nobody is probably a better road racer than Wally Dallenbach. And, you know, we see these guys shifting without the clutch on the upshift, but it gets a little bit tricky on the downshift.
Okay, and Larry, let's be real clear. We heard what Tony had to say. NASCAR is not making these guys shift, are they?
No. They're not.
They're not.
I mean, because like I said, I watched Hamlin's in-car from up here in the booth for lap after lap after lap, and he never shifted for like 5 laps.
And the point was, and Larry went away, the point was NASCAR opened up the rules to allow these guys if they wanted to, but it's not mandated that these guys have to shift.
Right.
And that's just Tony's frustration at the opening up of the rule a little bit by saying, hey, you put us in this box. If other people are going to do it, we have to do it too. And now I've busted my transmission. You know what I'm saying? So it's not, that was frustration, but NASCAR did not mandate that these guys shift.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a slippery slope. There's, you know, and like you said earlier, Kyle, sometimes when you sit in the car, but let's watch. I'm gonna watch here how Boyer's doing it. If we can stay on the shot, I'm just curious. He didn't go to the shifter that time. And maybe these guys are aware of it now. Maybe they're just taking care of their equipment a little bit more than they were earlier. But I definitely noticed guys downshifting in different places, and that's a lot harder on your gearbox if you're doing it earlier in the corner than if you are downshifting later in the corner.
Clint Bowyer 21st in the running order today. One of 25 cars still on the lead lap with just over 60 laps to go. Last time everyone pitted under caution at lap 112. We're at lap 139 and a cycle of green flag pit stops underway. Martin Truex Jr. coming in, and also A.J. Allmendinger making a stop. Marty?
And so it begins, the green flag pit stops, and they're a very wide window here of pit stops. Martin Truex Jr. has been one of those guys that hits pit road a little bit earlier than everybody else, but they have made a nice run through the field today. The car a little bit tight. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment trying to loosen them up.
And here comes the race leader. Kurt Busch going to make his stop at lap 141. Denny Hamlin inside the top 5, going to come right behind him.
Which is surprising because this is as early as I've seen the 11 car pit.
Marty?
Yeah, Adam, I just talked to Steve Addington a moment ago, and he said that they did get it full, but they wanted to pit a little bit earlier here than everybody else. They're going to go a quarter down on the track bar, trying to get that car to tighten up early in a run. Kurt said that's where I'm losing my time. Early in a run, 4 tires. That's the only change. Denny Hamlin also on pit road, 4 tires, and a little tape on the grill for Denny Hamlin. You see the orange strip of tape they put on that front grill. That's to get that car a little bit looser for Hamlin. He's tight at the end of a run. Hamlin did want to pit with the leaders when they came down pit road this time.
Jeff Gordon took over the race lead, but now he will come to pit road. Let's follow his stop. Matt Yoakum?
Adam, 2 laps ago, Jeff Gordon keyed the mic and said, I brushed the wall. You might want to take a look at that. When the guys get to the right side, he slides to a stop, pulling the tear off of Gordon. He says his car needs a little more grip on this 24 machine. Alan Gustafson's Matt says they should be good to go on 1 more stop. Possibly Jimmy Johnson's in. Track bar adjustment for Johnson. He needs more grip. He was reporting some issues over in the tunnel to with oil. No one else, though. Marty.
Juan Pablo Montoya pitting from 4th at the very head end of pit road here. 4 tires, a very small air pressure adjustment. Brian Patty said, I want you to count to 4-2 Mississippi. Once we drop the jack, make sure we get it full. Matt?
They're waiting on fuel for Greg Biffle in the 16. The last match, they were very, very close. At one point, 3 gallons short of making it on 1 more stop.
The new race leader is Kyle Busch. He is yet to make a pit stop. Here comes the 18 off turn 3, and once again he will bypass the pit lane. Ryan Newman 2nd, Tony Stewart 3rd, Dale Jr. 4th, Kevin Harvick is 5th. Newman and Stewart giving up position. Both will pit here under green. Matt?
And Newman very pleased with his race car pitting now on lap 142. He says the balance is decent. It could be just a tick tighter, but these guys are fighting the weather. Back and forth, the sun comes in and out. Ralph?
Loose off is a call for Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're going to make a wedge adjustment and get him back out. He's underway. 4 tires and fuel, Marty.
Ralph, look who's pitting at the end of a pit sequence. Kevin Harvick, he said the car very good. I just can't lay the throttle down like I would like. So it's a little bit tight on exit for Kevin Harvick. They make an air pressure adjustment to loosen him up. And again, waiting about 2 beats on that fuel to make sure it's full, Adam.
His teammate Clint Boyer also making a pit stop here at lap 142. Mark Martin up to 9th. He is yet to make a pit stop in this cycle. And now the race leader is in. Kyle Busch giving up the top spot to make his stop. Ralph?
He's been pretty quiet on the radio. Things have been pretty smooth. They're just going to take off a tear off on the windshield. They're putting 4 tires on it, fueling him up, and sending him back out. He's been very quiet on the radio today, making sure they get all the fuel, and away he goes.
Kyle Busch back in the game. After starting this day back in the 34th position, he's inside the top 10 now that he has made his stop. And as he exits pit road, that will put older brother Kurt back in the race lead. Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Juan Montoya, Jimmy Johnson, the top 5 at Pocono.
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway. Kurt Busch currently your leader, 146 laps in. He has led 27 laps. Hey, TNT Tuesday, get back to the beat with summer's coolest cop. Don't miss the season premiere of Memphis Beat Tuesday at 9/8 Central only on TNT. By the way, it was Jason Lee who stars as the detective who did today's race announcement at the beginning of this race. We have a special guest here, Carl Edwards. It's much better, obviously, if we can talk to you after a race win. However, currently you're out of this race right now. Tell us what actually happened.
Well, we're off right now.
Right.
We're not out.
You're still trying. I know.
Trust me, I would much rather be up driving that 99 car. But we brought I brought part of the valve here, the head of the valve that. I don't know if you got this on camera yet, but It's not a failure based on the way it was built. There was some sort of a part that failed here in the valve, and I don't know if you can see that, but we wish we were out there racing. My guys have been doing a great job. We have a points lead still by 7 points, but I thought I'd come up here and talk to you guys a little bit about what's going on the racetrack, because there's a lot of shifting. The cars are getting looser. It's really tough out there.
I couldn't help but think when we heard this, Carl, and I actually did a piece out at our cutaway engine after you went into the garage area. We heard you and Bob Osborne before the race talking about to shift or not to shift.
Yep.
Either way, it's a lot of RPM on these long straightaways.
It's a lot of RPM. And, we're watching Kurt Busch lead the race here. His car has really come around. I don't think when I was racing him earlier, I don't think he was shifting as much as some of the other guys. I know I was watching the broadcast and we saw Tony Stewart shifting, 6 times each lap, down into third, back to fourth, down to third, back to fourth, and his transmission, I think, gave up. It's tough as a driver. You want to go out there and get every last bit of speed you can, but when you're sitting there in the car, every time you put that thing into third gear, you're taking a risk of breaking something.
And Carl, with this new point system, every position is 1 point. You come in here as the points leader by 40 points, and you talked about you're not out yet.
Right.
I went over to the garage area myself and looked like about 12 Roush Fenway mechanics, Roush Yates engine mechanics, the cat in the hat, Jack Roush, right in the middle. And he told me, he said, we're going to pull the cylinder head off this thing. If we can get Carl back out there, we've got a lot of time on the scoreboard.
That's how they got this piece out, by working down there. So the guys are working hard. But, yeah, I think watching the broadcast here, I've had a little bit of time to watch it. It looks like Denny is still the car to beat to me. I think Kurt's coming around. But the way that track is, the sun's coming out, it's going to be an interesting race. I think one more stop, like you said. And then hopefully Jimmy stays back there where he's at so we can still come out here with the points lead.
So how much pressure do you feel with that, leading the points right now, but know how competitive everybody is, especially at this point halfway to the chase?
There is a lot of pressure, and I think what we're seeing here is we watch Kurt lead. I mean, that car and that team, they've turned things around. Anything can happen with 13 races to go before the chase. So, I mean, we came in here with a 40-point lead. It looks like we're going to leave with maybe a 5-point lead, and that's how quick things can change. So this year is a lot like this race. Anything can happen.
You brought up Kurt. Is that something the guys in the garage are looking at, the resurgence of Penske? Because obviously we've seen them have a lot of success over the past 3 races, whether it's poles or wins, what have you.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I think Brad said it best last week that they had them covered last week. They had the fast car in the 22, and they had the fuel mileage with the 2 car. So, we came here to Pocono. We knew they'd be tough on both ends. And, still this race hasn't played out with fuel mileage, but right now it looks like Kurt and Denny are the guys to beat.
And just remember, halfway to the chase, even with that 40-point lead in 13 races, all the guys in the chase will be even except for those bonus points for the win.
Yes, and that's that's why everybody's out here racing so hard. You've got guys that know they're in the chase. They're racing for wins. That's what we were doing today, and we were running well, but doesn't look like it was meant to be for us, but it's still going to be exciting race, and I'm going to stick around and watch it.
All right, but Carl, you said you're not totally out of it yet, so there's still hope.
He's off.
Thanks for reminding me. Yes, we'll get back out there. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Here we go. More racing here at Pocono Raceway when you come back.